Hello, welcome to LMU Community TV News. I'm Ashley Hurley. Thank you for joining us. Kentucky State Police are investigating the fatal accident that happened Saturday on Highway 25 at Meldrum in Bell County. A preliminary investigation states that Frank Barnett of Pineville was stopped on the southbound shoulder of the highway in a Chevy truck that was pulling a cattle trailer. He was attempting to merge back into traffic when he was struck by a tractor trailer that was being driven by Nathan Bemis of New Tazewell. The cattle truck was then partially overturned and ejected Barnett, causing the fatal injuries. Kentucky State Police Public Affairs Officer Shane Jacobs said Barnett was pronounced dead at the scene by the Bell County coroner. Bemis was transported to the Pineville Community Hospital for a blood test. He, though, did not sustain any injuries in the accident. Local residents came out to assist at the scene with trailers to help with cattle that were running loose or that were injured. Traffic was stopped for quite some time, and the traffic was then rerouted to Old Pineville Pike. The accident remains to be under investigation by the Kentucky State Police, and several emergency agencies also assisted that afternoon on the scene. A Bell County magistrate is behind bars on the charge of solicitation to commit murder following his arrest by the Kentucky State Police. 51-year-old Ricky Allen Gooden of Pineville was arrested and booked into the Bell County Detention Center. A press release from the Kentucky State Police states that detectives were made aware of threats by Gooden to arrange for the murder of another person. Further investigation led to the arrest warrant. Gooden is being held on a $1 million cash bond, and a court date has not yet been released. Gooden was arrested back in March on numerous drug charges that included drug trafficking and trafficking the drug within 1,000 yards of a school. There will be more information released from the Kentucky State Police Public Affairs Office as that information into the investigation is made available to them. The discovery of a new species of human relative in a cave outside of Johannesburg, South Africa was announced last week at the University of Witwatersrand and the National Geographic Society and the South African National Research Foundation. The finds are described in two papers published in the journal eLife, one of which was co-authored by one of LMU's anatomy professor. Here is Dr. Zach Throckmorton to explain his involvement with this special project.
In late 2013, some cavers in South Africa, professional cavers in South Africa, were caving, and they were in a chamber of what is called the Rising Star Cave System. That is about a 30-minute drive outside of Johannesburg, which is the capital city of South Africa. And they stumbled into a chamber that was very remote and very difficult to access, and they found bones. And the cavers knew enough about human anatomy and the skeletons of animals to recognize that the bones were interesting. So they removed one of the bones from the cave, and they brought it to Dr. Lee Berger, who is a professor at the University of the Witwatersrand, who is an expert in paleoanthropology, or the variation and evolution of humans, including fossil human relatives and fossil human ancestors. And he immediately recognized them as human-like, not exactly like us, like modern humans or living humans, but very similar to us. And so they assembled a group of petite young women who were advanced graduate students or recent PhD recipients, so who were trained in field work, field excavation, how to handle fossils in the field, how to pull them out of the ground, and how to document where they've come from, but who also could fit into this chamber in this cave. The chamber that the bones were found in is approximately the length of a football field away from the entrance. So it's not just, stumbling in and being like, hey, there they are. It's a fairly long and tortuous process to get through there, and there is a part that is called the Superman's Crawl, which is called that because you gotta be a Superman to crawl through it. All of the caving team is very narrow. They're able to squeeze through these tight passageways, and the people who are specifically trained for recovering the fossils are all smaller young women. There were literally hundreds of bones sitting on the sitting in the soft sediments on the bottom of this chamber of the cave, and thus began the Rising Star expedition. And they assembled a team of senior scientists who came down to South Africa at basically a moment's notice to come to the field site to do an initial evaluation of the material. So a lot of the bones that came out were fragments, and some of them were whole bones. It was a wonderful learning experience. I think I learned more in that month than I had in the previous year. By think, I mean I know. I mean, it was a tremendous learning experience to constantly be interacting with other scientists who really know their stuff. It was great to be able to, demonstrate to other people in my field who will be my colleagues moving forward that, I know stuff too, and that I am potentially useful. So, developing that professional and, personal social network. I mean, everybody that was there, I consider a friend now. I came back to East Tennessee, and we continued to collaborate on the development of our manuscripts about the new, at the end of the workshop, we were very confident that what we had was something completely unprecedented and new. We knew it was very similar to us and that it belonged in the genus Homo. It was not Homo sapiens as we are, but we knew it was going to be something new. And Lee and the other senior scientists had talked a lot about what are we going to name it, because we found it, we're naming it. And we decided, Lee decided with the senior scientists that we would call it Homo naledi. And naledi is a local South African language word for star, which we thought was a appropriate thing to name it because one, we think is pretty special, and it was found in the Rising Star cave system. The saying in science is that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and asserting that you have found a completely novel member of the genus Homo is an extraordinary claim. And we wanted to make sure that all of our I's were dotted and our T's were crossed, and we had done very good science. And so that took a long time. It's amazing to think, the paper on the foot and the ankle is less than 20 pages long. It's amazing to think about how much time went into a relatively short paper, but it has passed peer review, so it's pretty good.
Now be sure you tune in to LMU Community TV Weekend Edition as we continue this exciting discussion with him. The announcement will also be featured on the October cover of the National Geographic. A new program at the Cumberland Gap National Park has people going batty. To find out what I'm talking about, stay tuned when we return.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
And welcome back. The Cumberland Gap National Historical Park is holding the Batty About Bats program this coming Saturday, September 19th. This is the park's second program with the wondrous winged mammals, and if you are interested in learning more about them, this program is for you. Bartlett Park Picnic Area will house videos and posters that will provide a great overall lesson on bats and even modern technology that is used by the park staff to better understand the flying mammals. 3 stations will help learn the roles that bats play in the ecosystem and even their importance to humans. Jenny Beeler, the park's resource management specialist, is excited about the program and invites everyone to come out and have fun and learn something about bats while you're there. Visitors should access the Pinnacle Road shortly on the right after passing the Visitor Center, and visitors will see the signs for the Bartlett Park Picnic Area and park headquarters. Visitors should bring with you flashlights and insect repellent and wear long pants and long sleeve shirts during the hour-and-a-half-long program. Now, in case of rain, the 7 p.m. program will be moved to the National Park Visitor Center. For more information on the free program and other park programs, you can call 606-248-2817 with extension 1075 or visit www.nps.gov/CUGA. On our Thursday edition of LMU Community TV News, Tyler Rowlett brings you the concert calendar for the upcoming week. Today, Tyler is bringing an exclusive interview with members of Kentucky Headhunters.
All right, Tyler Rowlett here with 91.3 WLMU, and I just want to talk to you guys, as a musician myself,
sure.
What was the first instrument you had, and who inspired you? Who was the one person, or do you have that one moment that where you were like, I know what I want to do, I know I want to be a musician?
Well, everybody, probably Richard and my cousin Anthony and Greg. It's like we started when we were so young. It's like I was like 10 when I started, and it's like when you're playing guitars or playing army, we were playing music. They were a little bit older, so they was started getting interested in music, guitars and stuff. And I had something to do, so I started playing drums. Where I could hang with them.
Right.
Of course, we saw the Beatles, and when they come out in '64, and Mitch Ryder and all that stuff that was out there. So much good music, and we just, I guess, man, we always wanted to play music. I wasn't gonna be no linebacker, that's for sure. so we love sports and everything, but we never played it. We played music.
Right.
Of course, we have so many influences, the blues people, the rock people, and all that stuff. Man, there's so many heroes you have. There's a lot of local bands.
Yeah.
We grew up around the area where there's a lot of local bands that really
during
good.
the time. Yeah. The thing of it is, we were very fortunate because my grandmother was a big farmer, and she had a lot of families that lived on the farms or had adjoining farms, and everybody traded work back then. And we had guys that milked cows there on the farm that they loved country music, and they'd have that radio going down there blaring out Lefty for Sale, and we've tried to stay away from that. We tried our best, but at the same time, it soaked in your brain. You didn't know it. You got another question?
What was the first guitar you ever had?
A Harmony. I was just thinking about the other night. My mama gave $25 for it, and I bought it from a guy in Glasgow, and it had a celluloid, ugly lime green pickguard, but I loved that guitar. I mean, the first guitar I ever had, my dad and mom gave me one when I was 3 years old. I still have that one.
I remember that green pickguard.
Yeah, man.
The first drum set I ever had when we put our band together, I stayed over in town with my grandma one time. She wanted to give me some money to go up and buy myself a toy.
Our mom's mother, the other grandmother.
Okay, so I go uptown and come back and ain't got no toy. So what'd you buy with your money I gave you? She gave me like $1. I went up there and put a drum set at the toy store on a layaway. It was a toy drum. It was a drum
set. The ones
that
had the monkeys on it, but not the monkeys.
So that was my first. I gave $17.50 for them. and that's why I started on. Still got them today. They're on the back of our first album cover. I'm playing them.
Yeah, we painted.
We had a band called Truce, a psychedelic band.
Look at, on the first album, Picking on Nashville. Look on the back, and that little red says he's playing. They used to be like a metal color, and we painted them fluorescent so they'd light up, you know, on black lights.
And then of course when it I showed some interest in drums and showed it looked promising. And I got a set of Whitehall, and we played open for Us Incorporated at the Toys for Tots, man. When I got up there, there's this big double bass Ludwig sitting there. I said, "What am I gonna do, man?" So that was our first real gig.
Outing.
Yeah. Oh man, we got to play some good bands. We was just kids.
Us Incorporated was a great band. They were like NXS.
Okay.
For that day.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite instrument you've ever had?
Mine's my 52 Telecaster.
Man, I've got all kinds of, of drums and stuff I love. I love my set here because they come from our high school. And then my set of sonars I got my grandmother bought me back in '77.
John Fred bought a set of sonars today.
He did.
Boys, we got to go get ready.
Hey, thank you all so much.
Tyler will continue this interview on LMU Community TV News this weekend, so be sure you check out this exclusive interview along with your weekly concert calendar. Well, it was a packed weekend in sports across the tri-state area, from upsets to victories from the field and to the pavement. Adam Haley is bringing you the statistics and scores, all that and more on LMU Community TV News.
Out of the military, I was missing this camaraderie.
It's frustrating when you try and talk to people that don't understand.
I would be talking, but I wasn't there with them. You just feel so alone.
I still had the anger, I still had the addictions, but we didn't talk about that.
Came to a point where it's like, okay, I really need to talk to somebody about this.
Family more or less encouraged me, go to the VA, you're a veteran, see what they can do to help you.
When you have family, friends, when you have the facilities like the VA and the Vet Center, it gives me, it gives others encouragement to keep moving forward.
It's okay to go get help. It's okay to talk to people, because it takes true strength to ask for help.
Talking with other veterans was the best method for learning the roadmap to success.
Hear veterans' real stories of strength and recovery at maketheconnection.net.
Heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly. Tiana gave her pet the royal treatment. Belle found beauty where no one else did. And you can too. Share your heart. Share your love. Bring home your forever friend. Make a shelter pet part of your world. Happily Ever After begins at theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back. The LMU volleyball team started their home schedule last Friday night with Brevard, who proved tougher this season than in past. LMU took the first set 25-23 before losing the next two 25-22 and 28-26. With their backs against the wall, the Lady Rail Splitters knew they had to come out quick, and they did, winning the first 3 points before the Tornadoes called a timeout to settle down and roll off 5 unanswered of their own. Brevard would eventually take a 10-7 lead before LMU went on an 18-5 run to win set 4, 25-15. LMU took the lead to start the 5th set and never trailed, as they would win the set 16-14 in the match 3-2. Brooke Fleeman led LMU with 15 kills and 4 blocks. On Saturday, the ladies faced a Lenore Ryan team coming off a 3-0 loss the previous night, but the Bears came out focused and determined as they quickly took set 1 25-20 and set 2 25-18. The Lady Rail Splitters battled back to take set 3 27-25, but the Bears' attack was too much, and they finished off LMU in set 4 25-16 to win 3-1. LMU's Abby Cash had 40 assists in the loss, and Lenore Ryan's Brooke Redmond had 16 kills for the Bears. On the soccer field, the men's soccer team was in Banner Elk, North Carolina last Saturday to face Lees McRae. Both teams went scoreless through the first 45 minutes, but the second 45 were more entertaining. 10 minutes into the second half, LMU's Leonardo da Silva connected with a goal to give LMU the early 1-0 lead. Lees McRae would tie the game in the 71st minute, but 4 minutes later, Danilo da Silva gave LMU the lead again. The battle will continue from there as once again the Bobcats tied the game in the 78th minute on a goal by James Abraham, only to have the Rail Splitters take the lead 2 minutes later on a Philip Wong score. The two teams settled down from there, and LMU went on to win 3-2. LMU is now 3-0 on the season as they get ready for their conference opener on Wednesday at Brevard. The women were on the road on Sunday in Cleveland, Tennessee, facing the Lee Flames. Just like in the guys' game the day before, the first half was scoreless, but the second half was where the excitement was. Only on this day, it was Lee doing all the scoring. Kayla Leskover scored in the 51st minute to give the Flames the 1-0 lead. Mia Hollinsworth added 2 goals for Lee in the 66th minute and in the 74th minute, and the Flames went on to the win 3-0. LMU finished the full 90 minutes with only 3 shots on goal. Now at 1-1-1 on the season, they will also travel to Brevard on Wednesday to start their conference schedule. Last Friday night, 9 local high school football teams were in action. We'll start with our Old Town Grill game of the week from last week between Claiborne and Cumberland Gap. It was a very entertaining game that saw lots of scoring. The Panthers jumped out to a 28-7 first quarter lead, but could not stop the Bulldogs' comeback efforts as Claiborne came from 21 down to win 57-40. It was the most points in the series history between Claiborne and Cumberland Gap, and the Bulldogs' winning streak in this series is now at a record 7 games. Elsewhere in Tennessee, Campbell County won last Thursday night over Grace Christian Academy 33-28. Cougars junior quarterback Josh Lay accounted for 289 total yards and 3 touchdowns in the win. Hancock County is now in unfamiliar territory as the Indians made it 3 wins in a row with their 40-6 win over Rye Cove, Virginia. It was also the Indians' first win over a team from outside Tennessee. Angelico's undefeated season is over as they fell to Oakdale 24-18. It was also the first win of the season for the Eagles. In Kentucky, the Bell County Bobcats were at home taking on Wayne County in a game that had a few twists. First off, Bell County coach Wayne Mills was not on the sideline as he was suspended by the Kentucky High School Athletic Association. And then during the game, weather played a factor as they had to wait out a lightning delay. But at the end, it was the Bobcats who were victorious 14-10. Pineville suffered their second loss of the season at Paris, 48-7. Mountain Lion quarterback Tuck Woolham was intercepted 3 times, and Pineville was held to only 70 yards rushing while they gave up 351 on the ground. Middlesboro could not pull off their first win of the season as they lost at home to South Laurel 35-19. Cardinals running back Matt Harp torched the Yellow Jackets defense with 31 rushes for 204 yards and 2 touchdowns. And in Virginia, Thomas Walker stayed winless on the season as they were shut out by Castlewood 33-0. We'll preview the games coming up this weekend on our weekend edition of LMU Community TV Sports later this week. The NASCAR season has finally reached the playoffs as the chase for the Sprint Cup will start next week. Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Matt Kenseth, who is coming off a victory at Richmond, will start the Challenger round in first due to their 4 wins on the year. Joey Logano will start in 4th with 3 wins on the season. Kevin Harvick, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kurt Busch, and Carl Edwards will be 5th as they each have 2 wins on the season. Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex Jr., and Denny Hamlin will start tied for 9th because of their 1 wins each on the season. And Jamie McMurray, Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Paul Menard, and Clint Boyer round out the group of 16 as they got into the chase on points. The Challenger round consists of 3 races and will start this Sunday at Chicagoland Speedway. Now that's all for sports, but stay tuned after this break as Joseph Lewis will let us know how new releases The Perfect Guy and The Visit did this past weekend when he brings you the box office report when we return on LMU Community TV News.
She couldn't wait.
She had imagined the day for as long as she could remember.
The anticipation had been building.
The shopping, the dress, the jewelry.
Celebrating with her friends would be the sign that they had finally made it.
Only, she didn't make it.
According to MAD.org, teen alcohol use kills 4,700 people each year. That's more than all illegal drugs combined.
Car crashes are the leading cause of death for teens, and about a quarter of those crashes involve an underage drinker.
Don't add to these statistics.
Take a stand against underage drinking.
The future is in your hands.
One.
Two.
Me.
1 in 3 teens in the U.S. is a victim of abuse by a dating partner.
Numbers are important in sports, but now the number we want is 0. 0 victims, 0 offenders, no more.
We make up a larger team, Abe's team.
We're asking you to join Abe's team and be a part of No More.
So maybe you're wondering, what does it take to be on Abe's team?
Active bystander efforts. Step in when you see someone needs help.
Ask what you can do. Believe victims. Extend your support.
Act better everywhere and expect your friends to do so too.
Always be enthusiastic, especially in obtaining consent.
Avoid belligerent egos who coerce, bully, or threaten.
Alcohol brings error, and I will not leave a friend behind.
Join Abe's team and say no more. Let's be #AbeHealthy.
Lincoln once said, "When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. And that is my religion." In the spirit of Lincoln, let us support one another to do good. Join Abe's team and be Abe healthy by participating in active bystander efforts.
Hello, I'm Joseph Lewis, bringing you all the latest information in the world of movies. Tops at the box office this weekend were led by the new thriller The Perfect Guy, drawing $26 million in its opening weekend despite largely negative critical reception. Following at number 2 by a narrow margin was M. Night Shyamalan's latest horror film The Visit, starting its run with $25 million and immediately quintupling its relatively low $5 million budget. And rounding out the top 3 was last week's winner War Room, adding $7 million onto its now $39 million domestic gross. The weekend's other newcomer, the faith-based drama 90 Minutes in Heaven, took $2 million from 878 theaters for a per-screen average of $2,461, a decent number, albeit small in comparison to the $10,000 per-screen average that greeted War Room only 2 weeks ago. As summer winds down, most of the season's highest grossers have vacated the top 10 completely, with only Mission Impossible Rogue Nation and Straight Outta Compton still hanging around, having totaled $188 million and $155 million, respectively. Meanwhile, more recent titles like No Escape and The Transporter Refueled have failed to take off, neither one able to eclipse the $30 million mark. Look out for reviews of The Visit, along with the fall's prestige releases including Black Mass, The Martian, and Steve Jobs over the coming weeks. That's all for today in the world of movies. I'm Joseph Lewis.
Well, that is going to do it for this week's LMU Community TV News. Be sure you tune in Thursday for the continued interviews with Dr. Throckmorton and the Kentucky Headhunters.
Yep, absolutely.
And
We've got a lot of sports coming up this weekend, but we'll talk about that on Thursday as well.
So,
that's going to do it. Thanks to you for joining us. I'm Adam Haley.
And for everyone behind the scenes, I'm Ashley Hurley. We'll see you this weekend.